They asked, do you think Iran poses a real national security threat to the United States? 73% said yes.
Wow, that's a lot.
And that's like completely ridiculous, right? They have no capability to actually harm the United States. Now,
Right.
troops that we've literally lined their borders with, yes, but that's not the United States. Those are foreign troop deployments. But that's not distinguished here.
Right.
And I'm sure they're not even thinking of that. I assume the average American is thinking, like, oh, yeah, if they get a nuke, they'll just bomb Iowa.
Yeah.
But-
well, and I mean, it goes hand in hand with the rhetoric that you're hearing from guys like Ted Cruz or even Bibi. It said, first it's Tel Aviv and then it's New York or it's San Francisco or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, that's just lacking a lot of logistical context that, if you know that stuff, that's just impossible.
Yeah, right. Well, they don't have intercontinental ballistic missiles, number one. Number two, they don't have the kind of targeting systems that allow for global targeting systems. And then third, and this is an interesting one that I thought was it's a very interesting argument that Scott Horton brought to the fore this week, which is the difference between plutonium and uranium. So plutonium is derived from uranium when you add neutrons to it. It takes a very specific kind of reactor to do that. Iran had that kind of reactor at the Arak facility at one point, Arak, A-R-A-K. Though that facility was filled with concrete after the signing of the JCPOA. So they had the ability to produce plutonium, which plutonium allows you to make much smaller missile and weapons that is much lighter, that can cause an explosion. So one of the two bombs in Japan one was plutonium, one was uranium. The plutonium one was much smaller. The uranium one was much larger, much heavier. So even if you had that, they're not even really a threat to Israel right now if they can even if they do pursue a nuclear weapon, because as the uranium stockpile they have, it requires so much material to create the equivalent explosion to what we saw in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, that they don't have the weapons delivery system for that. You need a very large plane that's capable of carrying a lot. When Israel controls the skies, Israel has anti-aircraft. Even if it was before 2 weeks ago and they had done this secretly and then were flying it over there, that's near impossible. They have counter-aircraft, of course, fighter jets and things like that as well. And then lastly, they don't really they don't have even their regional missile systems aren't big enough to carry that load and deliver that missile. So is Iran a real threat? The further you go down the line, the weaker you see that argument is. The more the war propaganda looks like everything.
Right.
The entire Kabuki shadow theater.